I've always loved scary places. Haunted houses, ghost tours, urban legends. I thought they were just fun stories. But that night, I learned some legends are real. There's an abandoned psychiatric hospital on the edge of town. Locals call it Riverside Asylum, though it shut down nearly 40 years ago. The rumors said a doctor there experimented on his patients, keeping them alive long after they should have died. No one ever found their bodies. So, of course, when my friend suggested we sneak inside for a night of ghost hunting, I agreed. There were 5 of us. Me, my best friend Chris, his sister Megan, and our buddies Tyler and Jason. We parked down the road, climbed over a rusted fence, and stood in front of the massive, decaying building. Broken windows, boards falling off, faded letters above the entrance still spelling Riverside Hospital. The air felt heavier there. Still, like the whole place was holding its breath, waiting for us. "Come on," Tyler whispered, grinning. "Let's see if the stories are true." And just like that, we pushed open the doors and stepped inside. Inside, the air was thick with dust and mold. Every step echoed down the empty hallways, bouncing off peeling paint and shattered tiles. Chris swung his flashlight across the walls, and that's when we noticed them. Old patient files scattered across the floor. Faded photos, medical charts, pages with frantic handwriting. I bent down and picked one up. The cover read, "Subject number 47, still screaming." A chill ran through me. The notes inside were even worse. Broken sentences about testing pain thresholds and response to isolation. The last line simply said, "Subject restrained. No further noise." Megan shoved the file out of my hands. "This is sick," she whispered. "Who would write this?" But Jason laughed nervously, kicking at a rusted bed frame. "It's just old paperwork. Probably fake." Still, the deeper we went, the worse it got. Rusted gurneys sat abandoned in the halls. Wheelchairs overturned like someone had left in a hurry. And then I caught it, a faint metallic smell, sharp in the back of my throat, like rust or blood. We were only a few rooms in when the first sound hit us. A loud clang, echoing from somewhere above, like metal slamming against metal. "Probably the wind," Jason muttered, but his voice shook. Then came the footsteps, slow, heavy, from the second floor. We all froze, staring up into the dark ceiling, listening as the steps creaked closer, then stopped. "Hello?" Chris called out, his voice bouncing through the halls. No answer. That's when we heard it, the squeak of wheels. Like an old hospital gurney being pushed across the floor. The sound scraped and echoed, growing louder until it seemed to circle us. Megan gripped my arm. "Someone's here," she whispered. And then, at the far end of the corridor, my flashlight caught something. A figure, tall, dressed in white. It stood still, head slightly tilted, before sliding back into the shadows without a sound. My throat went dry. That wasn't the wind. That wasn't our imagination. Someone or something was in the hospital with us. We followed the hallway deeper into the hospital, trying to convince ourselves it was just squatters or other kids messing around. But the air grew colder, heavier, as if the building itself was pushing us back. That's when we found the room. The rusted door hung half open, and inside were rows of old restraint chairs bolted to the floor. Leather straps dangled from the armrests, stiff with age. A tray of surgical tools lay scattered across the ground. Scalpels, clamps, syringes, all covered in a layer of dust. The walls were covered in deep scratches, not graffiti, fingernail marks. Megan's flashlight swept across the far corner, and we saw it, a cracked mirror propped against the wall. Jason stepped closer, smirking nervously. Creepy, but kinda cool. He waved his hand in front of the glass, and we all gasped, because his reflection didn't move right away. It lagged, just a second behind, but long enough to know we weren't just looking at ourselves. We didn't stay in that room long. The second Jason's reflection lagged behind, we bolted. Back in the hallway, Chris's flashlight started to flicker. Then mine. The beams of light pulsed on and off like the hospital itself was breathing. That's when the doors slammed shut. All of them. One after another, down the corridor. Bang. 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 Megan screamed, covering her ears as a new sound filled the air. A chorus of voices. Some were crying. Others were laughing. But none of them came from the same direction. It was like the walls themselves were speaking. Tyler pulled out his phone, hands shaking. We need to get out of here, now. But before he could even dial, his screen lit up on its own. A video started playing. We all leaned in, and my stomach dropped. It was us, just minutes ago, walking into the hospital. The video wasn't shaky or from someone hiding. It was like we'd been filmed from inside. Then the screen went black, replaced by words scrawled in static letters. You're next. Tyler dropped the phone. When we picked it up, he was gone. We ran, through hallway after hallway, turning corners, slamming into walls. But no matter where we went, we always ended up back in the same place, the experiment room. It was impossible. We swore we were running in different directions, but the hospital twisted around us, folding in on itself. That's when the voices stopped. The silence hit harder than the noise ever could. And then we saw him. At the end of the corridor stood a tall figure in a filthy white coat. His face was covered, or maybe stitched together. A grotesque mask of pale skin, as if made from more than one person. In his hand he held a clipboard, and in a rasping, broken voice he began to read. Patient 1, he said, looking at Chris. Severe paranoia. He turned to Megan. Patient 2, hysteria. The clipboard shifted, his hidden eyes fixed on me. Patient 3, still screaming. Chris grabbed my arm. Run, he shouted, and we all bolted down the hallway. But every door we tried was locked, every window sealed. The hospital wouldn't let us go. Behind us, the sound of wheels squeaking echoed louder and louder, like a gurney being pushed right toward us. Megan screamed, her flashlight falling to the ground, spinning across the cracked tiles. In that beam of light, I saw them. Shadows of patients, dozens of them, strapped to invisible chairs, writhing and whispering. Chris slammed his shoulder into a door until it burst open. We stumbled outside, gasping for air. For a moment I thought we made it, but then I turned back. The windows of Riverside Asylum were glowing. One by one, shapes appeared in them, pale faces watching us from the dark. And in the very center window, the doctor, still holding his clipboard, still watching. When I looked down at my arm, I froze. Numbers were carved into my skin, as if by an invisible hand. Subject number 48.